When a global empire is built on rigid military order, its stability depends entirely on the discipline of its leaders. The story of Antony and Cleopatra shows what happens when a single romantic obsession becomes powerful enough to pull those institutional pillars down from within. In the 1st century BC, Rome is the dominant world power, governed by a three-man alliance. Its most legendary general is Mark Antony, a man whose career was defined by strict Roman discipline and a relentless focus on military conquest. However, Antony has abandoned his post in Rome. He is now in Egypt, living a life that stands in total opposition to Roman Stoicism. He is there with Cleopatra. She is an unpredictable, fiercely intelligent ruler whose influence begins to pull Antony away from the expectations of a Roman leader, replacing his military focus with a life of indulgence. This shift creates an immediate crisis. News arrives that Rome is destabilizing and enemies are rising, requiring Antony's immediate return. Yet he hesitates. He chooses to stay with Cleopatra while the Roman government waits for his leadership. In the high-stakes vacuum of Roman politics, hesitation creates an opening. By choosing to stay in Egypt while Rome's borders destabilize, Antony provides his rivals with the evidence they need to question his loyalty to the Republic. Antony eventually returns to the center of Roman political power. His reputation is in tatters, and he is forced to find a way to prove he is still a disciplined Roman leader. He attempts to repair the damage through a strategic marriage. He weds Octavia, the sister of his co-ruler Octavius Caesar, to forge a stabilizing political alliance between their two houses. This silver coin from the period shows why that marriage was doomed to fail. On one side is Antony, but the other side features Cleopatra. Their identities were inextricably linked in the public eye, making his Roman alliance a transparent lie. Antony soon abandons Octavia and his duties in Rome to return permanently to Egypt, effectively resigning from his role as a Roman leader. Octavius Caesar weaponizes this abandonment. He uses it as propaganda to convince the Roman public that Antony has been corrupted by a foreign enemy and is no longer fit to serve. This decision marks the point of no return. By prioritizing his personal desires over his political responsibilities, Antony transforms himself from a Roman hero into an existential foreign threat, making war inevitable. This map shows the coastal geography of the Battle of Actium. Despite superior land forces, Antony made a critical error, fighting a naval battle in these confined waters. During the engagement, Cleopatra's fleet suddenly fled for the open sea. Rather than commanding his fleet, Antony immediately follows her. He breaks formation and abandons his troops in a fight he was supposed to lead. The retreat destroys his military honor. As his forces surrender, Antony experiences a total psychological collapse, realizing that his obsession has stripped him of his power and his identity. The final blow comes from a false report that Cleopatra is dead. Believing his only remaining purpose is gone, Antony takes his own life, eventually dying in her arms as Octavius's forces close in. Antony's downfall wasn't caused by superior enemy strategy. It was the direct result of a leader who stopped making decisions based on strategic reality, choosing personal attachment over everything else. With Antony dead, Octavius becomes the undisputed ruler of the Roman world. Cleopatra is left entirely isolated in a kingdom that is no longer hers. Octavius intends to capture her alive. He plans to parade her through the streets of Rome as a trophy of war, using her humiliation to cement his own legacy. Cleopatra refuses to be a part of his victory march. She understands the only way to retain her power is to choose her own ending. She chooses a death traditional to Egyptian royalty, the bite of an asp, or Egyptian cobra. This final act is an intentional move of political defiance. By choosing her own end, Cleopatra robs Octavius of his triumph and forces history to record her as a ruler who decided her own fate. The tragedy of Antony and Cleopatra leaves us with a question that still resonates. What happens to a world when the things we want finally destroy the things we need to survive?